caught. Here's a throw behind. Oh, the throw gets away from him. Here's VR. Here's VR coming home. And the throw is not in time, and the Astros win it in the bottom of the ninth inning. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the rubber game of this exciting series. The Astros taking on the first place Oakland Athletics. Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. These two teams trading one-run wins. Exciting ball games. And the Astros finally beating Oakland last night after 10 straight losses this year, Ash.
Before 32,000-plus fans here. And that was really nice to see. Great atmosphere. A few of them had left by that point, but a nice come-from-behind victory for the Astros. And that speed of Jonathan VR, not to mention his bat, playing very big in the victory.
Earlier this season, we've seen Oakland do everything right in the 10 wins against Houston, and late-inning heroics came from the Athletics bats in some of those games.
Boy, they found ways to do it early on in the season. They just ripped the Astros apart with the bats. Among those wins early on, Josh Donaldson, who's had an all-star campaign this year, driving one down the right field side, that provided a win. Chris Young's been in the act, as he constantly does here at Minute Maid Park. Big home run, 8th-inning job that gave the A's a win. On and on here as we started this 3-game series. Monday night, it was Josh Reddick, who's had a tough series, or a tough season rather, but he provided the margin of victory with a home run, and the enjoyment was there for the guys last night. This home run gave the A's a late lead. Looked like it would hold up until Matt Dominguez came up with a 2-run home run of his own in the 9th inning to tie it. The Astros continued to make things happen, and then it was a mistake by Altuve, base running mistake, that provided this error and the chance to win it, and VR just seized the moment with that speed. Great base running coming, not only leaving second base, but as he came around third base. Solid work, and a deserving hero last night for Houston.
And a much enjoyed game by Astros fans. Well, coming up next, Layla Rahimi has much more on last night's win, the Jared Cozart angle, the Jonathan VR part of it. We'll have Sonic Youth with Layla in just a moment.
Sports Net. It is a nice afternoon in Houston as we get ready for the third game of the series between the A's and the Astros. And the Astros have a chance to win the series against the A's today because of what happened last night. The Astros walk-off win against the A's in dramatic fashion that showcased the talent of two of their young players in Jonathan Villar and Jared Cozart. Villar continues to do well in only his second game with the team with 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 runs scored, also including the game-winning run on the air, which helped the Astros beat the A's and earn their first win against that team this season. Villar says he continues to try to improve. Jose Altuve complimented his heroics, saying that double in the 9th inning was the most important hit of the game. Jared Cozart, the young pitcher, also doing well, even though he did not earn the decision last night. He continues to work and bring luck to the team. He's allowed only 1 earned run in 15 innings of work so far. He said after 115 pitches, he didn't think he'd be able to get into the 7th, but he did. Cozart had 62 friends and family tickets and more than that in the crowd of more than 32,000 at Minute Maid Park to watch him last night. And he said he appreciated the support of Houston and his friends and family even yelling at him before the game started. He appreciated the support and the pressure. Nice to see it happen all together. Here are the numbers. Cozart, 7 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, but only 1 earned. And then Villar's numbers, 2 runs, including that game winner. Bo Porter complimented Villar's speed on the base pass, and it paid off last night. So can the Astros close it out with a series win against Oakland for their first chance this year? Coming up, it is the afternoon encore, the matinee, Game 3 in the rubber match here at Minute Maid Park. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby on the call when first pitch happens next.
Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Let's come inside Union Station and on through to Minute Maid Park, where Bobby Dynamite is up on the train. The umpires are gathered around home plate, and the teams are waiting to take the field for the final game of this homestand for the Astros. A homestand that started with a sweep by the Seattle Mariners. The Astros' losing streak grew to 6 games before their thrilling come-from-behind win last night. Oakland came in for the opener of this series and won that one 4-3 Monday night. So now these two teams playing for the 12th time this year. Oakland is 10-1 against Houston, and the final game in Houston between the two. Bo Porter's club will be donning the hockey sweaters for this theme road trip and heading for Toronto after the game today. And Kane, represented on that Blackhawks jersey by Lucas Harrell. You see the other guys. What's that one by Bracamonte?
I assume that's the Lightning.
Tampa Bay Lightning, maybe. Josh Fields with the Washington Capitals. So an assortment. Boston Bruins. Bobby Orr. Wow. For Jose Altuve. That is classic. And Hector Ambrose has one for us. He's got the Ducks.
They're not just Ducks, they're Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks. So it's a different look for you guys when you get on the airplane after the game and make that long trip to Toronto. You'll have hours to examine all the artwork on those hockey sweaters, Ash.
And there will be a lot of blue line violations, I'm sure, on the flight.
Now Bud Norris warming up to face this starting lineup for the Oakland Athletics, who are 58-42. They'll lead off with Coco Crisp in center field. John Jaso's the catcher. Batting third is third baseman Josh Donaldson, who's having a big series. The cleanup man is shortstop Jed Lowry, with Yoenis Cespedes in left field, Brandon Moss at first base, Josh Reddick in right field, Seth Smith the DH, Eric Sogard at second base.
Bud Norris takes to the mound this afternoon, 28 years of age, 6-9 on the year. It's been a little rough of late, 3.91 the ERA. Trying to whittle that back down. He's lost his last couple. Last win came on the 3rd of July against Tampa Bay, right here at Minute Maid Park. He pitched very well in that one, but over the last 2 starts at St. Louis and here against Seattle, 13 earned runs combined over 10 2/3 innings. So a lot of work for Bud now to get it straightened back out. Defensively, behind Bud Norris, doing the catching, Carlos Corcoran. Around the infield, Brent Wallace at first, Jose Altuve, Jonathan VR. Boy, has he looked good. And Matt Dominguez, big home run last night. He's at third. In the outfield, Justin Maxwell in center, flanked by Mark Krause in right and Chris Carter in left.
The Oakland club is 28-27 on the road. And the Athletics really have strung together a very nice stretch of work. They've won 6 of their last 7 series. This will be the deciding game of this 3-game set. And they'll lead it off with Crisp. Bob Melvin's club, even with the difficult loss last night, trying to rebound and continue this good stretch of work. He was the National League Manager of the Year with the D-backs, American League Manager of the Year last year with the A's, and won the title in the AL West on the final day of the season. That was the first time they had been in first place all year. Quite a different story this year. They've been in first for a while now. They have a 3-game lead over the second-place Texas Rangers. For the Rangers, Matt Garza is making his debut in today's game. And it's Coco Crisp ready to go now. 261 for Crisp, 9 homers, 36 runs batted in. And he just has tremendous numbers against the Astros for the season. He's hit home runs, he's stolen bases, he's gotten extra base hits, he's made plays in the outfield. That's a strike.
Yeah, you hit 410 over a 10-game span. You're really swinging it well. That's what he's done against the Astros this year. 8 RBIs, 34 total bases. He's also walked 12 times.
He hits that one in the air, and Jonathan VR tracks it over toward the seats. Foul ball, strike 2.
If you're a big fan of the on-base percentage, you'll like what Crisp is doing, or maybe hate it, depending on the perspective. 549 with that on-base percentage.
Wow. 872 slugging percentage for him against Houston. He's scored 12 runs in the 10 games, has 7 doubles. 1 and 2. One thing to watch for on Bud Norris today is the A's swinging at his first pitch. Crisp took the first pitch for a strike. Opponents are swinging at Bud's first pitch 31.6% of the time. That's the highest rate in the American League. He gets a swing and a miss and strikes out Crisp.
Yeah, Bud's already induced one emergency swing on that running fastball.
He's 4-4 at home with a 2.81 ERA.
And that's exactly what Bud's trying to feed off today. Get it turned back around here at home, where he's pitched so well the last couple of seasons.
In his career at Minute Maid Park, he's 21-18 with a 3.36 ERA and 60 starts. John Jaso's the batter. Jaso takes, and there's ball 1 to a 265 hitter with 2 homers, 20 runs batted in. Now, these numbers these guys are compiling against the Astros are big. Jaso 348 against Houston. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Oakland running up that 10-1 lead in the season series, has hit .294 as a team, has scored 76 runs in 10 games, bashing 16 homers. Good movement there into the zone for strike 2 call from home plate umpire Jordan Baker. Norris is 0-2 lifetime against Oakland. His ERA 11.37. It's 2-2. Lost that last start to Seattle, giving up 6 runs in 5 2/3 innings. As Ash mentioned, the one before that in St. Louis. Also falling into that less than satisfactory category for Bud. 7 runs allowed in 5 innings in that one. His ERA was 3.22 before those 2 games. Now it's 3.91. And his name continues to be circulated in trade rumors. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Jaso.
I felt before the last 2 starts for Bud Norris, he had really put himself in a spot where I thought he had to be considered very soundly in terms of the All-Star game.
Fly ball left, Carter looking up, and that one reaches the seats in the Landry's Crawford boxes. Jaso hits his 3rd home run to make it 1-0 Oakland. That's his 2nd home run in 7 at-bats against Norris.
Jaso, like a lot of hitters that wind up hitting just kind of a fly ball to left field and gets out to the Crawford boxes, he looked like a surprise ball player going around first base. But leaves that fastball out over the plate. Jaso has some pop that direction.
Yeah, that can be an easy home run at Minute Maid Park. Josh Donaldson puts this one in the air, and coming back for a look, Carlos Corcoran. That must have hit the roof and then come back in the other direction. But Norris rushed in. And once it hits that roof, it is not in play anymore. Above foul territory. If it hits the roof above fair territory, it is in play.
That's the indication you're having a pretty good year when pop-ups get saved like that. Nice swing by Jaso. He's one of those hitters, and there are plenty of them, hitting from the open stance and then takes that lead leg and brings it back toward the plate. It keeps that front shoulder in well.
Donaldson's had a big series, going 4 for 6. Swings at that pitch and misses for an 0-2 count for Josh. Had a whale of a first half this season. He's driven in 7 runs in 11 games against Houston. Those his overall numbers, very solid. He had 107 hits at the All-Star break. That tied him for 5th most in Oakland history. Off the plate for a ball. It was the most hits at the All-Star break since Carney Lansford had 118 in 1988. 61 runs batted in at the break, were the most at the break since 2000. Jason Giambi had 78. Norris missing there, evens the count at 2-2.
When we've seen Bud on his game's best this year, and few of those against the Angels, he'll get that put away pitch after he gets a couple of strikes on the hitter. Started in the strike zone like this one, and then break it out of the strike zone. That's effective. But on the previous couple, not even close.
2 punch outs.
See that slider start right toward the outside edge and then bust off the edge.
Jed Lowry follows. The former Astro at 287 with 7 homers, 37 runs batted in. His batting average has been plummeting lately. He's hit 107 over the last 7 games, going 3 for 28. Strike to Lowry. He had been above a 300 batting average for quite some time, but in July he's hit 185. So this 287 is a season low for him. A lot of guys would like to have that for a season low in late July. 1 ball, 1 strike to Lowry. Lowry, the previous shortstop, and now it's Jonathan Villar. Very exciting young performer who's had 2 successful major league games. Lowry hits that one foul and out of play for a 1-ball 2-strike count to Jed.
Not only successful for VR, but really exciting. And I felt like he has brought an element to the ballpark that has enthused a lot of the folks sitting and watching this team.
Yeah, just the exciting play. The Astros turned 4 double plays last night, and he was in the middle of all 4 of those. Norris headed for the dugout. Looked like a really good pitch, but Jordan Baker called it ball 2.
Certainly did, and well handled by Carlos Corporan. That's hard as a pitcher. You feel like you've just put this right on the money where you want it, at the bottom of the knees, and you don't get the call. You have to kind of keep your composure out there. Again, close.
3-2. Lowry's walked 37 times. Jed has a .354 on base average. Jordan Baker, Tim McClellan, Mark Wegner, Marvin Hudson on this crew. This is the anniversary of that George Brett Pine-Tar game. McClellan was a home plate umpire. Rolled over foul. Christy Rieken of the Associated Press saying she had a nice chat with Tim McClellan, commemorating the anniversary of that George Brett Pine-Tar game when Tim was at the plate and he took that bat and played it across home plate to measure how much pine tar was on, and the rules at that time dictated that home run not be allowed. Swing and a miss. He says they call me the pine tar umpire. The Jaso home run makes it 1-0. Coming up, it's VR, Altuve, and Castro. For Bo Porter, whose club is 34 and 65. Leadoff man is shortstop Jonathan VR. It's Jose Altuve at second base. Jason Castro, the DH. Chris Carter in left field. Carlos Corporan, the catcher. Brett Wallace at first base. Justin Maxwell in center field. Matt Dominguez at third base. Mark Krause in right field.
Right-hander A.J. Griffin on the hill. He's 25 years of age. 8-7 on the season. .382 the ERA. Opposition hitters hitting just .236. A loser his last time out. That at LA or Anaheim against the Angels, allowing 4 earned runs over 5 innings, but he's won 2 of his last 3 starts.
Jonathan VR takes his first pitch. There's strike 1. VR is 4 for 8 in his first 2 major league games. He chops this one foul first base side. He and Jimmy Wynn are the only 2 shortstops to make their major league debut with the Astros and get hits in their first 2 games. Jimmy Wynn was a shortstop before being converted to outfield. VR became the first to have a hit, a run, and a steal in his major league debut at shortstop for the Astros. Fouls that one, keeps the count at 0-2. Meanwhile, it's Arthur Joseph Griffin, as Ash mentioned, on the mound, 25 years old, from El Cajon, California, and the University of San Diego. That crowds him, and it's 1-2 to Jonathan Villar from the Dominican Republic.
Fastball certainly not overpowering here this afternoon. He's utilized the changeup and the curveball already.
It's in for a strikeout for Griffin.
Outs all on strikeouts so far, so you don't need a lot of defense, but they're going to play out there anyway. John Jaso behind the plate around the infield. Brandon Moss, Eric Sogard, Jed Lowry, and Josh Donaldson in the outfield. Coco Crisp in center, flanked by Josh Radican Wright and Yoenis Cespedes with a first start here in this series.
Now with one out, it's Jose Altuve. Altuve at 280 has 3 homers, 31 runs batted in. Jose is 1 for 5 with an RBI in this series. He fouls it back. He's drawn 3 walks in the 2 games. There's strike 1 to Altuve. As for Griffin, in his career, he's won 15 and lost 8 with a 3.52 ERA. 13th round pick in 2010. Foul back, and it's 0-2. Griffin is facing the Astros for the 3rd time this season. Got a no decision in a 4-3 Oakland win at Oakland in April. And he got a win here in Houston May 25th. And he has whiffed Altuve for 2 strikeouts to open the game for Griffin. The slider has been a potent pitch for him, a 180 batting average against that pitch. Jason Castro is up next. 12 homers, 33 runs batted in, and a 264 batting average for Jason. He's 1 for 8 in this series with an RBI. That's ball 1.
Both pitchers having a tough time getting that knee-high pitch, especially on the edge there. That's just about perfect from Griffin.
Upstairs, it's 2-0. Castro last night had the RBI single in the 1st inning, with the Astros getting 3 consecutive hits off Jared Parker. And they scored an unearned run in the 5th and got the 3 runs home in the 9th to win it 5-4. It's 3-0. That was a very pleasurable experience last night with a nice sized crowd, 32,249. A 3-inning 9th. And the Astros snapped their 6-game losing streak. That's in for a strike, and it's 3-1. Castro has 26 doubles. That's the most for an Astros catcher in a single season. And he chased that one, and it goes to 3-2 now. Castro hits it on the ground to first. Brandon Moss with the play. It's a 1-2-3 first. It's a 1-0 Oakland lead.
1-0, and it is time for our AT&T tweet of the game, courtesy of @Mr. Crawfish from the Crawfish Boxes. Great blog saying Bo Porter judo chops. That's when Bo Porter celebrated the walk-off win last night. But look what happened. He hit Bud Norris with his judo chops. That wasn't supposed to happen. So then Bud Norris tweets, Crawfish Boxes, LOL, didn't feel it in all the excitement. Still funny to watch to this day. At least Bud and Bo both took it like pros. I did ask a couple of the guys in the clubhouse today if they had seen it, and they said no. So that may be something they try to look at and watch later. Good times, though, celebrating last night's 5-4 win. Let's send it back upstairs to Bill and Ellen.
We hadn't even noticed that either, Layla.
I know, I didn't either, but Crawfish Boxes was on top of it.
Yeah, as usual. There's strike one to Joanna Cespedes.
What's that folks say? Don't let the celebration get anybody hurt on your team.
It can be a challenge sometimes. 15 homers. There was a very excited manager, Bo Porter, last night as the winning run scored. Jonathan VR. That error by Derek Norris. Ground ball. Now VR backhands, gets up, throws, and safe at first. The stretch by Wallace made it really close, but Cespedes beat it out for an infield hit.
Well, there's our first glimpse of the effort at the spectacular play, and there was plenty of arm on this throw. Obviously doing a nice job with the glove. Take a good peek at this. Oh, that's really getting it done there, and nice and easy with that throw. That's close at first.
Cespedes gets hit number 2 for the Athletics, and Brandon Moss follows.
I think that's one of the things I've been watching to see with VR is what the really tough play looks like. He looks like he can make the spectacular, and again, it really comes down to making the routine and doing it consistently.
Yes. Moss hit his 17th homer of the year last night. There's strike one. Moss has driven in 47. His batting average is .236. He connected in the 8th inning with a 2-run shot to give Oakland a 4-2 lead last night. Very big home run at the time, and we're hearing that he took responsibility for not catching that throw from Derek Norris on the game-winning error play. Just looked like he was slow to come off the bag on that throw by Norris. It was going to be a tag play, so there was no reason to be on the bag, but it looked like he was slow to move to his right to make the catch on that throw, but Norris got the error on the throw.
I think last night proved that there really is nothing more exciting than the walk-off error. That was a very exciting moment for the club.
A walk-off is great no matter how it happens, right?
Yeah, and this club scratching and clawing. They've been doing it every game.
Guys, Bo Porter was asked after the game if that was the most interesting way he's seen a game end, and he said he had actually seen a walk-off balk.
Oh.
Ever seen a walk-off balk?
I don't think so. Ash,
I don't want to see that.
I saw it once in a high school playoff game, and it broke the poor pitcher's heart.
Yeah. What a way to lose a game. It's out to center field. Maxwell backing on it and turning back the other way now. Oh, on the warning track. He caught up with it for a long out number 1. He made a couple of different turns, and he wound up on Towles Hill.
Well, that route will shed a defensive back. There's no question about that. But eventually getting to the pass. He's got a lot of athletic tools there.
He had a little brush last night with J.D. Martinez in the outfield. Martinez is out today. His hip is bothering him a little bit, but he should be fine for tomorrow night. Brandon Barnes had to leave the game with more of a cramp than anything else in the calf muscle, the left calf. And Brandon said he'll be fine to play tomorrow night. Josh Reddick, the batter now. Reddick with 5 homers has driven in 34 runs. Reddick hit a home run in the first game of the series in the 8th inning, with Oakland winning it 4-3. He takes a look at that one, and it's ball 1 to Reddick. Very good defensive player. But Reddick has been disappointing with the bat to this point. After hitting 32 homers last year. Cespedes draws some attention. He is 5 for 11 in steals. That's off the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Regarding trade rumors, of course, people have been asking Bud Norris about it. Bo Porter, Jeff Luhnow. Bo was asked about it last night, and he said, Bud and I have talked about it. And I just explained that you can control your performance, but not a trade. 2 balls and a strike, so control what you can control.
Yeah, you hear stories, and I've been around guys where they get attached to a trade rumor, and all of a sudden their performance starts to lack and never get it turned around on the course of the year.
2-2 to Reddick. Well, there's a lot to ponder. Gee, am I going to have to pack up and move my belongings to another city in the middle of the season? What about my family? So sometimes players do get caught up in that. Strikeout of Reddick. That's number 4 for Bud Norris.
Yeah, that's good fastball from Bud. Might have found some of the plate too, but he gets away with it. He's been finding of late more of the plate, and it's been costing him. The fastballs in orange there. You can see a number of those right in the heart of the plate. The breaking balls also in that area, but not quite centered up like the heater. And there's the home run by John Jaso here in the first inning, and right out over the plate. Not exactly where Bud would want it.
Seth Smith is 0 for his last 20. And there's strike 1 to Smith. 253, 6 homers, 32 runs batted in for Smith. This is 3 short of the longest hitless streak of his career, 0 for 23 3 years ago. He's now gone 7 for 55, 127 in his last 17 games. That's good for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Smith. But Smith, like so many of his teammates, has hit well against Houston pitching. 324, 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. Against Bud, he's 3 for 7 with a long ball. This time it's a strikeout, and Norris gets number 5. It's no runs a hit and a man left. It's 1-0 Oakland.
A's leading the Astros 1-0 on CSN, and we want to remind you to tune into Chevy Hometown Kids, like those kids, every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience. And some more hockey sweater talk, you guys. I asked Chris Carter which sweater he had. I thought he maybe had a San Jose Sharks one. He said, I wish. Carter, a man of many words, of course. I want to know what sweater you have, Ash.
I've got a, and now well, no longer being used kind of jersey. The Houston Aeros.
People love the Aeros, though.
Yeah.
Mark Appel's dad said he's an Aeros fan.
It's all about me trying to get people to love me today. That's what this is.
You don't have to try that hard.
Could you model it for us, Ash?
Well, I could at some point here. Sure. Yeah. Let's see. What do you think?
Nice.
It,
looks sharp.
Yeah.
What do you call that, Bill? Is that a rudder there? I can't quite make it out.
Well, we have an airplane with teeth on it, and the propeller. Yeah, the twin-engine Ash airplane will get you guys to Toronto.
Apparently that felt kind of good. Could you keep that up?
You know, if you took this plane to Toronto, you would have had to leave 2 days ago to get there in time.
Yes.
What a nice logo for the Arrows. Yes, they did serve the city well. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Carter. That is strike 3. Griffin gets number 4 in a row to open the game, and that's 3 of them via strikeout route.
Just a very well spotted fastball. We've already seen from Griffin in the first inning that with 3 ball counts he'll go to pitches other than the fastball, but well done, and a nice little tail back to the corner.
He looks sharp early. Now Carlos Corber in the batter. 271 for Carlos, 5 homers, 13 runs batted in. Both catchers in the lineup today as Castro's the DH. But there's been a discovery. There's strike 1. Layla found out about it along with the rest of us during Bo Porter's session with the media before the game today. There's been a discovery that there now is an emergency catcher on the Astros. It took a while for this to come to light, but it's Jake Elmore.
Yeah, the value of that stock has risen sharply since that announcement.
2 balls and a strike.
Well, you can play all around. We've seen Jake around the infield, in the outfield as well, but you throw in that you can do some catching in an emergency, and very, very helpful stuff.
Yes, that really attracts the interest of the guys in uniform. Swing there by Corcoran makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carlos was talking about that great walk-off win last night, how improbable it was, how things unfolded, and it was really a tremendous experience for the Astros to win that game. That's strike 3, and Griffin makes it a very sharp start. He has struck out 4 of the first 5 batters.
Carlos didn't like that pitch, but look from Griffin's perspective. You're trying to come in at the knees. Boy, that is a spotting it quite well.
Griffin now faces Brett Wallace. Wallace had 208 with 5 homers, has 16 runs batted in, made a couple of outstanding defensive plays in the game last night. He said he really liked the pace of Jared Cozart. That helps the fielders. Off-speed pitch takes the count to 1-1.
That is a good changeup possessed by Griffin.
The MO on him is that he has great command and deception.
Certainly not overpowering, but we've seen evidence of the command here in the inning.
He is commanding it, isn't he? He's hitting corners. 1-2.
Well, you utilize that inside corner to that extent. Got something going on, and then the changeup mixed in. We've seen the slider.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Brett Wallace. Prior to last night, the Astros had lost their previous 132 games when they trailed by multiple runs in the 9th inning or later. They were 0-51 this year. They trailed by 2 going to the 9th and scored 3 to win it. Wallace with a 1-hopper. Lowry backhands it and throws him out. That's 6 straight set down by Griffin, and it's 1-0 Oakland after 2. John Jaso. This moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. Let's go back to July 24th, 1984, when Enos Cabell, Phil Garner, and Jose Cruz hit back-to-back-to-back homers. It was a 9-run fifth, and they beat the Giants 10-3. Cruz hit 2 home runs in that game, as we learned from AstrosDaily.com. J.O., number 25. Enos is here today.
He could play, too. And he brought a lot of fun to the game, whether it was on the field or in the clubhouse with the guys. Just one of the best of all-time teammates for me.
He just had a style, a panache when he played the game. Eric Sogard is hitting .417 in his 4 games since the All-Star break. Breaking ball with strike 1.
I think if you told Cheo he had a panache, you might be ready. Get yourself ready anyway for a little scuffle. I don't think he would take kindly to that.
Well, you can go down to the corner bakery and get one of those, It's no balls and 2 strikes. This is the only early day game so far. A couple of games starting later this afternoon. It's 1-2. Bud Norris is 3rd all-time in games started at Minute Maid Park. Roy Oswalt number 1 with 145. Wandy Rodriguez 2nd at 113. Usually when it's Bud Norris at Minute Maid Park, it's more like Chuck Norris against somebody who broke into his house.
He does protect this place pretty well.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
You could see that previous pitch. He went through the entire set of signs and then some, shaking off every time. For a catcher, you get to a point sometimes where you just want to say, what do you want to throw?
Struck him out. That's 6 punch outs. Pine Tar game, anniversary of Pine Tar game, Ash.
Can't get enough Pine Tar. George Brett takes one up eye high. He was a good eye high hitter apparently. But yeah, at this point, George has got to be kind of pleased. At some moment coming up here shortly, he will not be quite as engaging with everybody. Oh, what a player. Talk about getting in a scuffle, though. What was to come?
Ooh. His ball went to Coco Crisp. He struck out to lead off the game. There's Tim McClellan.
We don't like this bat. We are not going to accept that.
Tim was a rookie umpire that year. It's 1-1.
One of my old teammates was the catcher there, Rick Cerrone, as well as Greg Nettles.
He called George Brett out for using an illegal bat with pine tar that went too far up from the handle to the barrel of the bat.
Are umpires allowed to headlock?
No, they're not. No, 1-2. They're very good friends now, we understand, Brett and McClellan, but not that day. And of course the call was later overturned, but McClellan was merely enforcing the rules the way the umpires had been told they should be enforced on pine tar. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Some of that went on as well with umpires trying to deal with pitchers that they felt might have been defacing the baseball, and the league did not back them, and so at one point the umpire just said, okay, then we're not going to do anything.
Right. Maxwell over. That's out number 2.
As long as the baseball stays in one general piece, go ahead and use it.
Two down, and it's Jaso batting. Well, the Milwaukee Brewers pulled off a trade. Traded Francisco Rodriguez to the Baltimore Orioles. And they got what we understand is a very good prospect for K-Rod. And he could be a closer or a setup man. Jim Johnson has something like 5 blown saves, so there might be some thought about having him do some closing, but he could set up as well.
He was the man in that regard last year.
Strike makes it 1-1. From what we were hearing today, the Boston Red Sox were also pursuing K-Rod because they have Andrew Bailey, who's out for the season, and he was to have been their closer. They have some other injuries in their bullpen, so that drove up the price for the Orioles to make the deal. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count.
I think the Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays are the 2 clubs right now that I would say have the most likely chance to overtake the Red Sox. And so if you're the Boston Red Sox, you might say, well, we'd like to have this guy, but does the element also come in of we don't want one of these other clubs to grab him?
Yes.
And therefore we need to pursue even harder.
Line drive, left field line. Jaso's going to head for second. Coming over Carter. Here's Carter's throw and offline. Jaso has a double to go with his homer earlier.
Just a little carved piece going to left field. That is beautiful hitting.
He's finding very good results in left field today.
There's that wide open stance and then just carve through the baseball, slice it the other way. Saw Jonathan VR hit one that direction last night from the left side of the plate, but it was more of a tomahawk barrel coming directly to ball.
Josh Donaldson struck out in the first inning. Well, apparently Baltimore may not be finished dealing. There are rumors that they're on the hunt for someone else now.
If they load up with some pitching and combine it with the offense and the defense they've played this year, well, they've got I would think their chances would go sky high.
Matt Garza's going to make his Ranger debut tonight at home against the Yankees. Donaldson takes it. It's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. And there continue to be stories about Alex Rodriguez and his possible suspension. And there's one story out today that he could be coming in for a 100-game suspension, and there are sources close to him apparently who have told people in the media that he's going to fight it. Evidently he had a 4.5-hour meeting with Major League Baseball officials and was not generally cooperative.
That could be quite a fight, though, because the word also is that the evidence on A-Rod is much stronger than the evidence that was had on Ryan Braun.
Off the plate. 3-1. Well, the intrigue also continues in the sense that there are stories that the Yankees really do not want him to play, and that he had finished his rehab time in the minor leagues, and he said he was ready to rejoin them. They said no, he had a quad strain, and they've sent him to Florida for further work. The issue of his contract would seem to be involved in that. The Yankees are saying not the case. That's a walk to Donaldson. But they might just be buying time rather than bringing A-Rod back to the big league club until this possible suspension is handed down, which could be any time now.
Based on what I've seen, the video from minor leagues and A-Rod playing, a bunch of strikeouts, not really running well, I'm not sure how much he can help the Yankees, despite the fact that they've had numerous guys playing at third base so far that you really wouldn't know who they are.
Jed Lowry struck out in the first inning. And strike 1 to Lowry.
A-Rod is reported to be back in the New York Yankees minor league complex in Tampa. That is a soap opera,
isn't it, though? Drag makes it 0-2. Well, Ken Rosenthal of the Fox Sports website is reporting today that the Orioles now are talking about Bud Norris, but they could target former Oriole lefty Eric Bedard or right-hander Lucas Harrell. And one rival executive said, I think they're still looking at a ton of stuff.
I'm not anxious to see Bud traded away here from Houston, but I personally, having watched him this year, I think he's a good pitcher, and he's going to help somebody.
And it might be Houston.
It might very well be Houston. I think they've got to come away with an absolute win deal to trade him.
Bud is 6-9. His ERA 3.91. Lifetime record of 34-46 with a 4.33 ERA. It's 1-2. Still a lot of Ryan Braun talk, of course, today. And I was listening to the Dan Patrick radio show coming into the ballgame today, Ash. And Skip Schumacher, the utility man for the Dodgers, was the guest. He had some strong opinions against Braun and what he did with the performance-enhancing drugs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Skip Schumacher is taking the position that we're seeing more and more, and that is that he feels that someone who's caught on a test or with strong evidence, in the case of Braun, should thereby no longer be under that contract. That multi-year contract should be voided. Foul back.
I think it's a very good argument. Why should a team that does everything they can to acquire a guy or keep him in the fold, spending a lot of money, be held to that contract when the contract really was acquired under false premises?
That's true. And then, of course, some people are saying, well, give back the MVP award. Give it to Matt Kemp. He finished second.
Matt Kemp is among them.
Yes, he is among them. But the point being that there's a really strong feeling in the players' ranks against these players who have used illegal substances and are now not playing on a level playing field with everybody else. And it's costing these other players who are competing with these guys. Lowry puts it in the air. Carter in and left. And it's no runs a hit. 2 men left. The anniversary of a very controversial call. George Brett Pine Tar game. 1-0 here. Oakland.
The Astros are coming off of a winning game, thanks in part to the efforts of a man who did not get the decision, but did help out entirely, Jared Kozar. He was acquired in the famous Hunter Pence trade. He, Jonathan Singleton, Josh Zeid, and the player to be named later in that trade, Domingo Santana, all producing for the Astros minor leagues and also the big league club. Kozar, the main centerpiece of that trade right now, as he is already doing well with the Astros. 7 innings last night, and he said one of the biggest differences from what he had done last night and the start he had before as opposed to spring training was he's working his breaking balls. He said his curveball and his changeup were basically non-existent during spring training. He's utilizing them now, throwing them for strikes and help mixing his pitches as we can see what he can do with that fastball as well. The trade may be working out pretty well, you guys. Let's send it back upstairs.
It certainly might be. Here's Justin Maxwell, 1-0 Oakland. And there's ball one. Maxwell at 246 with 1 homer, has 6 runs batted in.
Based on what we've seen from Cozart to this point, he looks like a guy out to make that trade look like an absolute steal for the Astros.
1 ball, 1 strike. Maxwell's 2 for 7 in this series. He's on a 5-game hitting streak right now. But Griffin has not allowed a base runner through the first 2. That's a great day for Jared Cozart to enjoy. Now he had his 2nd major league start in. Very successful last night. First start at home. Big turnout from League City. Former high school coach was interviewed by Layla Rahimi. That's a good night. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Layla, did you turn into Gatorade girl again last night after that game?
I will say that I did smell like fruit punch for the rest of the evening, yes.
That's okay. It was fun, wasn't it?
It was, and the coolest thing about it was the fact that the last time it happened, they used lemon lime on my white shirt, where you may laugh, but it didn't stain or provide any problems. And then yesterday, color coordinating blue. So see there? The guys can be considerate in their Gatorade showers.
Yes, that's a very considerate team effort on their part.
They are thoughtful in their celebrations.
You know, it's always fun to be a part of those, but it was pretty funny because everybody's like, I can't even see it. And I'm like, yes, that's the point. They used blue Gatorade because they are nice to me. Matt Dominguez felt it a little bit worse than I did, of course.
Here's your guy, Matt Dominguez, taking strike 1. 231, 12 homers, a club high 50 runs batted in. And Matt Dominguez hit that game-tying homer in the 9th off Grant Balfour. He just crushed that to left center field. Then you were interviewing him after the game. 0-2. And Dominguez also ended the streak of 27 consecutive saves last year by Aroldis Chapman of the Reds when he ripped a 3-run homer off Chapman last September 7th. Lowry takes care of out number 2. And we have a Geico quote from last night, since we're on this topic right now. We're on topic, Layla, and here is...
We've seen some games end on some pretty amazing plays, but a walk-off error. What went through your mind when you saw that?
No.
I'm not going to let you get away, though.
They got her again. Yeah, that's 2. How many more could there possibly be for Layla this year?
Well, I hope there's going to be a bunch.
Yeah. You wouldn't mind getting doused a few more times, Layla, probably.
I don't know. That's some uncanny luck.
Mark Krause takes. There's ball 1 to Mark. 158, 1 homer. 4 runs better.
How about Chris Carter taking that Gatorade by himself? Last time I think it was a 2-person effort. I didn't even know who did it.
That's a good point. He's a very strong individual. And it was amazing water cooler control that he was able to dump that only on Matt Dominguez and not on you.
That is, again, very considerate, I feel like. Very thoughtful.
When they talk about 5 tools, is that one of the tools? Water cooler control?
Yeah, that's it.
And for announcer tools, it's choice of hockey sweaters as well. I think these things matter, though. Call me crazy, but I feel like they do.
Mark Krause fouls it. 1-2. Mark has found Major League Baseball to be not that far from what he might have thought, but he said the pitchers just are better. They have better command. Everything's a little bit better. And he hasn't had a chance to start a whole lot. He's only had 9 starts prior to this one today. He's starting primarily, you would think, because of injuries to 2 other outfielders today. Maybe not. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He has to keep fresh by starting every now and then, but he said, yeah, it is nice to look forward to more than 1 at bat in a game and a chance to settle in a little bit.
Had a couple of good swings in last night's game. Just didn't quite get it on the sweet spot.
And he parks this one in left field. And he is the first Houston base runner after 8 straight were retired by A.J. Griffin.
Always nice when you see that ability to go the other way, especially deep in a count. Sets up as a guy who, yes, with his size can hit with power, but at the same time can hit for average as he uses the field.
Krause connects. That's the first ball to the outfield by an Astros hitter. Jonathan Villar is next. He took strike 3 in the first. 4 hits in his first 2 games. He's joined select Astros company. Taking strike 1 there. Ken Caminetti had 4 hits in his first 2 games in 1987. Keith Drumright did it in 1978. Kenny Lofton did it in 91. That's bunted, and here's Donaldson barehanding, throwing and getting him. It's no runs, a hit, and a man stranded. And after 3, it's Oakland 1, Houston nothing. Layla just a few drops. Matt Dominguez, a lot of cold stuff.
The Astros take on Big Papi, David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, and the rest of the Boston Red Sox in their only road trip here to Minute Maid Park this season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to get your tickets right now.
Norris trailing 1-0 enters the 4th inning of play with Yoenis Cespedes first man up. Cespedes reached on a hit to Jonathan Villar's backhand in the 2nd inning. That one got in on him, and he hit it foul for strike 1 for Bud Norris. Bud, a 6th round draft choice by the Astros in 06. Just off the outside edge. That makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The Oakland Club's 7th in runs scored in the American League, but 1st in ERA, 3.56. Dominguez, double clutch on the throw. 1 out.
Bud has not been thriving on the edges where he's tried to be steadily. Wouldn't say he's the sharpest we've seen on the season, but he's put a number of pitches on the edges and not getting much for him.
Brandon Moss is the batter. He hit a fly ball to center in the second inning. Justin Maxwell caught up with it. This one goes to left center. J-Max cutting over. Carter to his left makes the catch. 2 outs.
Log on to csnhouston.com and click on In-Game Live to enhance your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz. In-Game Live only on csnhouston.com.
With 2 down, it's Josh Reddick batting. Reddick hit a fly, or struck out rather, in the second inning. Showing Buddy looks at strike one. The A's 58-42 record through the first 100 games is the 3rd best record in the American League, 5th best in the majors. Their best after 100 games since 02. No balls, 2 strikes. A win today would give the A's their best start since 1992. 18 straight days in first in the AL West.
Another close pitch from Bud. And pretty much where Corcoran wanted it.
In the dirt for a ball. That makes it a 2-ball, 2-strike count. 69 pitches for Bud. Last night, Jared Cozart went 7 innings. Monday night, Dallas Keuchel went 6.
Watch what a catcher does. Breaking ball from the right-hander. You close off the right shoulder. And that's what will bring it back toward the plate. Now, maybe a little extreme there, but that's what a catcher tries to do.
Maxwell in center. And it's a 9-pitch 4th inning for Bud Norris. Oakland leading 1-0.
And it is available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. MLB.com at-bat delivers Astros baseball, live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at-bat to 31826 or visit Astros.com for details. Pretty addicted to that app, I'm not going to lie. Send it upstairs to Bill Brown and Alan Ashby.
Well, it's worth your time and does keep people entertained very well. Thanks, Layla. Jose Altuve takes a look at ball 1. Home 4th inning underway. 1-0 Oakland. 3 hits for the A's, 1 for the Astros. Altuve struck out in the first inning.
Sounds like we need to have an intervention for Layla.
Yeah. We'll get her some help. It's 2-0.
Hey, I'm just trying to watch as much baseball as I possibly can.
Don't get defensive now. It's only because we love you.
Yeah.
The night's still young. If I'm going to go home and then watch West Coast baseball, you can't stop me.
3 3-0.
Yeah, that attitude is what always causes people to have problems getting away from their issues.
Listen, this is a victimless crime. It's not like I'm hurting anyone.
That's a strike, and it's 3-1 to Altuve. Oh, yeah, there are far worse things.
I don't need your help. I can quit anytime.
Okay. Layla, did you watch the Yankees-Red Sox game Sunday night?
I didn't have a spare 5 hours, guys.
That must be without the commercials, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about how long American League games are. And I got the pleasure of going to New York, and then I heard all about how long the Yankees-Red Sox always are.
Yeah. Still 3-2 to Altuve. A.J. Griffin very sharp. He's not walked more than 2 in any of his last 11 starts. He's been a fly ball pitcher, more outs in the air than any other American League pitcher this year. Altuve puts it in the air. They're getting up in left field. Altuve has tied this ball game at 1. Number 4 of the season for Jose Altuve, giving him 32 runs batted in. And it's a 1-1 game.
We saw a little earlier George Brett take an eye-high fastball and drive it out in a big pine tar situation. Altuve does something very close with it. It's been a while since he's launched the long ball, but watch this come up and in, and that's turning quickly. He has been so steadily hitting the ball the other way that you wonder if maybe he's forgotten his stroke, but fortunate right here that he recalls it very well.
22nd home run allowed by A.J. Griffin. Now Jason Castro takes ball 1. He grounded out earlier. Altuve's last homer was June 5th. It had been 153 at-bats for him between home runs. Moss takes it to first. One down as Castro's retired. You know what the Astros record is when Jose Altuve hits a homer? 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
So it's all about the little man's big flies, huh?
Well, he's talking it over with the hitting coach. Chris Carter, the batter. John Maley and Jose Altuve work very closely together, and they have to share in that result. Carter was caught looking in the second inning. It's a 1-1 count. And the Astros have hit 94 home runs this season. Carter works the count his way at 2 balls and 1 strike.
Out of Statwell on the road might have been the most recent road trip. I don't recall, but it was about the impact of home runs on teams in general. And when clubs hit home runs, or maybe, yeah, I'll put it that way. When clubs hit home runs, their winning percentage goes way up.
Especially 3-run homers. That's a called strike 3. That's strikeout number 6.
Kevin Eschenfelder brings the heat with special guests and in-depth analysis on Sports Talk Live. That's every night at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Carlos Corcoran struck out looking in the second inning. 1 of 6 strikeouts for Griffin, who crowds him with a fastball, and there's strike 1. Griffin has been really spotting that fastball to left-handed hitters right over the inside edge of the plate. Red Sox and Dustin Pedroia have finished a $110 million 8-year deal. 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes as Griffin changes the eye level on Corcoran.
Dustin Pedroia is a heck of a player. If you walk by him on the street during the middle of the day, you might be inclined to pat him on the head. But put that Red Sox uni on him, and he is all about winning.
That one hit him. They tried to crowd him consistently with that fastball and missed inside with that and hit Corcoran with a pitch.
Carlos didn't budge until the very end, but then he budges in the right direction, right back toward catcher and umpire. That's the way you do it. Still got to hurt.
Only the second hit batter for Griffin this year. Brett Wallace grounded out to shortstop in the second inning. Strike one to Wallace. A's starting pitchers have a 28-10 record with a 2.94 ERA in the last 58 games since May 17th. And Brett Anderson is out with an injury. It could be about a month before he comes back, we're hearing. No balls, 2 strikes. But they have done very well without Anderson. Bartolo Colon has been absolutely fantastic this season. 13-3 with a 2.52 ERA. Bounce wide to first. Still 0-2. Oakland will be moving on back home to face the Angels. Should be an interesting matchup, but the Angels really desperately needing to make a move if they're to be contenders this year. And the Angels currently are 46-52, 11 games out in 4th place. Wallace is down on strikes, but the Altuve home run leading off the home 4th inning has tied this game. It's 1-1 after 4.
The Lines is brought to you by Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. What about Bud Norris this afternoon? And Bud with 6 strikeouts on the afternoon picked those 6 up through the first 9 hitters he faced. It hasn't been his sharpest afternoon, but effective when he needs to be. And boy, just strikeout after strikeout between the 2 pitchers this afternoon.
4 innings, 3 hits, a run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 70 pitches for Bud Norris through 4. When he faced the A's in Oakland, that was early in the season, April 17th, he gave up 6 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Seth Smith leads it off. That's strike 1 to Smith, who struck out swinging in the second inning. It's a battle of the strikeout pitchers through 4, as you pointed out. It's headed for the seats, and it's an 0-2 count. The A's have a .213 batting average in July. That's the lowest in the majors. Fastball in the air. Dominguez over. Out of play. Still 0-2.
They keep winning because of their pitching, and they've been clutch. They've been able to come up with those one-run close type wins and pick them up late in ball games. They're an intriguing team to watch. On paper, well, you can probably glance right by this club. I think it says all the more to what Bob Melvin and his staff have done.
Boy, it does. Melvin's been tremendous in his career. Very intelligent. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Could certainly see Bud Norris loading up with that changeup as he went into the windup.
We haven't seen our old friend Phil Garner out here, have we?
I was going to ask you last night if you had seen Gar.
No.
He and Bob Melvin, good friends, and love working together.
Chop at first base. Wallace. 1 out. Phil sometimes pays a visit. He's working for the Oakland A's, does some scouting for them. This is the final game here between these two this season. The Astros have 2 more trips to Oakland, one in mid-August of 3 games and a 4-game set in early September. Oakland 10-1 against Houston. The Astros have had a rough ride against the 6 teams that currently occupy first place, and they're 3-23. 0-4 against Boston, 1-6 against Detroit, 1-10 against Oakland, 1-3 against St. Louis. Haven't played the Dodgers or the Braves. Sogard with a liner to left. Carter over. Ooh. That might have been a problem with the lights for out number 2.
Those lights can really be tough on those line drives. Chris has taken a couple of strike 3s this afternoon, but didn't quit on this one.
Coco Crisp is 0 for 2, a strikeout and a fly ball. He's hit .405 at Minute Maid Park. It's his best for any major league ballpark with at least 15 at bats. Chris Young was about at that figure before the game last night. It's 1-1. But Young was 0 for 3 with a walk. So Young now goes back to the bench with Cespedes returning to the lineup. Young has been spotted at the various outfield positions this year. He really has not been a quote everyday player for Oakland. But it's mandatory for Bob Melvin to play him against the Houston Astros. The way he's hit. 1-2. Young has 3 homers and 10 runs batted in against the Astros this year with an average of better than 300. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And when the A's go back home to meet the Angels, they'll pick up on their home record of 30-15. That's a difficult assignment for Mike Scioscia's club. Dan Straley and C.J. Wilson tomorrow. Altuve to his left. And Wallace receives that throw for out number 3. That's 7 straight retired by Norris. Middle of the 5th inning. Oakland won on a Jaso homer. Houston won on an Altuve long ball. Sportsnet is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Go big at a Jack in the Box near you with Jack's Big Stack Burger. And by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Warm day outside as usual. Inside on this warm afternoon, the heat not a problem. The Astros will leave these very comfortable confines to head for Toronto after the game. Jackie Onken is here today. Bottom of the fifth inning, Maxwell, Dominguez, and Krause will be batting for Houston. Maxwell struck out in the third inning. Little chop goes foul, strike one. That's a long flight going to Toronto.
Going to the Great White North.
Well, you know all about that city. What's your favorite thing about Toronto?
Oh, wow. I hate to admit it, I've never been to Europe, but it has what I perceive as a European feel. It's very international.
It really is a cosmopolitan type feel to it.
A lot of smallish little restaurants of different themes, and really a wonderful place.
2-1 to count. Do you have any plans?
Nothing major other than to meet up with some of the folks I knew from work up there and maybe grab lunch.
Kind of an expensive city, isn't it?
It is quite expensive. Apartments, condos, whatever the case may be, cost you close to the arm and leg.
Well, as long as you can keep your spleen, you're all right.
Gasoline, that's another one. Boy, you pay by the liter, and the liters are, last I checked, about $1.30 per.
8 strikeouts. Griffin has tied his season high. He's fanned 8 a couple of other times. April 16th against the Astros and May 13th against the Rangers. He loves striking out the Texas hitters, apparently.
Well, his fastball has maybe a time or two gotten to as high as 90 miles an hour this afternoon, but it's been a really lethal combination with that fastball, the change, breaking balls.
Dominguez shoots a line drive to left center field. Coco Crisp will throw it to prevent him from getting to second base. The throw comes in near second. There's a single by Matt.
We're taking you off the field and into the lives of the newest Houston Texans. Meet the rookies at 6, 10, and midnight only on Sportsnet Central.
Nice line drive hit by Dominguez. He's on for Mark Krause now.
Pretty much the same swing that we saw Matt employ last night with a home run. He said he was just trying to hit something hard at that time, and that's usually when the dingers come.
Krause took a line drive hit to left field back in the third inning. Dominguez didn't homer in his first 33 games. He's hit 12 in the next 60. Last Astro third baseman to hit 12 through July 23rd was Morgan Ensberg. Fly ball to center. Crisp with the catch. 2 down as Krause is retired. Ensberg had hit 19 homers through this date on 2006. Dominguez on a nice pace. Now it's Jonathan Villar. Villar struck out looking in the first, grounded out in the third inning. Oklahoma City lost at Omaha last night. 3-2 is the final. Ryder Cruz the loser. Strike to Villar. Robbie Grossman had a couple of hits. Robbie's hitting .271. Brandon Laird 2 for 2. He's at .283. John Singleton .202. No balls, 2 strikes.
That's been surprising after he seemed to do so well at the AA level when he initially was inserted back into play.
Yeah. George Springer 0 for 3 last night. .341 at AAA for George. Villar looks at it. That makes it 1-2. Corpus Christi lost to San Antonio 11-3 last night. Ground ball to second. Sogard on to Moss. No runs, a hit, and a man left after 5. Oakland won. Houston won.
For our Progressive fan of the game, and I found some familiar faces. Tony Solis, our fan of the game, great headgear, great necklace. You've been a season ticket holder for 7 years.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your favorite part about going to the Astros games?
Just the environment coming in, especially this year, watching the guys come up like Hozar yesterday. That's fun. Jonathan doing a good job. And then coming out, hanging out with Mr. Valentine and all my friends. You know, Mike, Susan, there's a good about 30 group of us season ticket holders, and it's more like a family environment for us to come out here.
We enjoy seeing you guys too, especially you and Mr. Valentine, but you guys have to get a look at this necklace really quick. You have to hold it up. How do you like that? That's worth Progressive fan.
That's beautiful.
Tony has the best accessories in the house, guys. Let's send it back to you.
Are those diamonds in there, Layla?
Bill Brown wants to know if those are diamonds, Tony.
Oh, of course.
Wow. Okay, I got to get away from this guy before somebody takes us out. You got to get some security for that thing.
Yeah. I need the security they got for the baby. Was it little Prince George? I need his security.
Until then, we'll just hang out here in left field, and it'll be cool.
All right, just Layla and her diamonds out in left field. John Jaso with 2 balls, no strikes. He has a homer and a double, and both times he's hit the ball to left field. But he's probably thinking left field again, don't you think, Ash?
Yeah, the way he approached that last one, probably tend to want to go right back there.
It's 3-0 to Jaso. Josh Fields got his first major league win last night, and all the excitement about the 2-run homer by Dominguez and then the double by VR and the walk-off error. That might have been lost to some that Josh Fields was a winning pitcher for the first time in the big leagues. Jaso takes a 4-pitch leadoff walk here. That's the second walk for Norris. Well, it's a big moment, and Bo Porter made sure that he got the lineup card, Josh Fields, from the game. It was authenticated, of course. Now Donaldson, the batter. Donaldson struck out and he walked. There's ball 1. It's for Oakland. We'd have to think that maybe the closer, Grant Balfour, is not available today. He threw a number of pitches and was the loser last night, and also pitched the night before, Monday night.
Boy, is he an intense competitor.
Very intense. They call him the Mad Australian.
Why is he so mad?
I don't know.
Is that to imply that Australians tend to be a little hot-tempered, or is it to imply that he's the only one?
Now you're asking questions that can only lead to trouble. And you're good at that. You know that shrimp on the Barbie dish, chicken on the Barbie in Australia?
In the Outback?
Yeah. Well, you're kind of asking questions that might lead it to broadcaster on the Barbie.
I don't see it that way.
What do you think? What people from all different countries around the world, they get reputations, right? The Irish are this, and the Spanish are that, and the Italians are so and so. What about Australia?
I'm not touching this, Brownie. You're asking questions I'm not even going to begin to touch.
Don't want to. Well, you know, you played the game for a long time, and you coached, so you're around people who have been born all over the world.
What do you think if you rephrase it, I'm going to answer?
Yeah, yeah. So, are there stereotypes in the clubhouse, or you guys get on each other, right? A little bit.
Yeah, of course there are. You're not supposed to say that. It's all politically correct. But yeah, sure there are stereotypes, and we all fit them in some way or another. I know I can't dance with a leg.
That hit him. Donaldson hit by the pitch. Now runners at first and second and nobody out. Donaldson was hit last night as well.
Looks like right on that right elbow. All padded up on the left. Then a glance out to the mound as if this was done intentionally.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that.
You're not a fan of the glance?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Well, unless it comes in a situation where you anticipate it and then got the plunking. But that wouldn't be this situation at all. And that was brief, but I think it was to the point. Bud didn't want that to happen.
Well, consider the situation here, Josh Donaldson. It's a 1-1 game. There's been a leadoff walk. Now, if that had been intentional, would it have come on a 1-2 pitch? Probably not.
Not a chance.
Would it have put the potential go-ahead run up one base at second base? It doesn't make the thought process wouldn't be there to do it in that situation if it had been the intent to hit him at some point. Lowry's the batter. He has struck out and fly to left. But guys get mad. You know, you can't always be rational when you just took a 92-mile-per-hour fastball off your elbow. So that's understandable, too. Pain will do that to people.
I have a feeling that one hurt a bit, too.
You know it. In the air, and VR looks out to the left fielder, Chris Carter. Carter takes care of it. That's out number one, and a big out for Bud Norris.
Come to Minute Maid Park on August 9th for the next big and bright Friday night against the Texas Rangers. It's at 7:10 p.m. Stay after the game for a spectacular fireworks show courtesy of Marathon Oil Corporation. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com for your tickets.
Yoenis Cespedes is the batter. He singled to Jonathan Villar's backhand side at shortstop in the second, then grounded out to third. The Astros have lost 8-day games in a row. And they've been outscored 57-26 during those 8-day games. What's going on with the day games, Ash?
We'll have to check in with Josh Hamilton and find out about that. He, of course, the guy that had a doctor inform everybody as the throw gets right on by Bud Norris here, and not his fault. Alertly backed up by VR. But yeah, Hamilton, I think it was a year ago, with his blue eyes, had a doctor to confirm that it was because of his blue eyes that he was having his struggles during day games. And so, see, there you go. You got me to talk about stereotyping people with blue eyes. They can't hit in the daytime.
They appealed to first. Nope. No swing by Tim McClellan. It's 1-1. Well, remember, was it Harry Carey who said Mexicans can't catch pop-ups?
Yeah, that was a different time, wasn't it?
Oh, that was a very different time. He must have gotten a lot of emails.
I think in his case, they may have, for the good part, been pretty positive.
Strike two. Twitter must have been blowing up when Harry Carey said that.
Twitter started in what, 1955?
I think
56?
so, yeah. It was invented by, no, never mind. We're not getting it. We're not getting political.
Well, I know where you were going there, and I'm afraid to say it. Why are we so afraid? Why are eggshells all over the floor here?
That's what we've come to. We can't say anything anymore. A's won, Astros won. 6th inning. That's okay.
Is it?
I think.
Time for Bud to get that ground ball and get the first double play of the afternoon.
So a 1-ball, 2-strike count. You know, you were talking about hitters sometimes with that angry look out at the mound after they've been hit by a pitch. And we've talked about that book, The Code, which is very good, talking about when it's supposedly fine to hit a guy and when he stepped over the line, all these different unwritten rules. And you run across stories that, well, some pitchers, if they're ordered to intentionally walk somebody, they'll say, well, I don't think it would be anybody today, but back in the old days, I'll just hit him.
Takes only one pitch, not 4. Do you get that book from Oprah's book club, by the way?
No, I'm not a member of Oprah's book club.
You've been touting that thing for quite a while now.
Yeah, I'm not getting a percentage of the sales. I just thought it was interesting.
Spoken by an author of a very fine effort, I might add.
Remind me to bring you a copy of that book, The Code.
The Code?
So, yeah, instead of... You can just read it and tell me what you think.
You know, maybe I can find it. Just download it online.
That's your style.
Have you heard of that?
I have heard of that, yes. It's very popular these days. It's been around since 1955, though.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was 55 or 6, but...
Well, you save on paper. Just think of
Yeah.
Think of what you're doing for humanity. Foul ball goes into the seats. It's still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. But that, you know, I mean, even with the folks who have been on the earth for a long, long time, many, many decades, that's a popular style of reading. The Kindle, the Nook.
Yeah.
Do you read in that format?
I do.
So, and people say, well, you know, it's good for reading in bed because it's backlit and you don't have to turn on a light in your bedroom.
Make sure you download from a biodegradable site, though.
Okay. So we have to do everything we can for the next generation, right?
Don't mess up the landfills with those poor downloads you're getting.
No. Cespedes lays off. It's 2-2.
Wow. And again, Bud's been close a number of times this afternoon. And feels like little in terms of the results. That's a pitch he'd love to get, probably out of the strike zone.
Corp was down doing the splits as he caught that one.
What would Greg Maddux have been without that call?
Oh, yeah. His next pitch will be number 100 for Norris. You might think there's nothing going on at Minute Maid Park tomorrow. Wrong. The Astros are hosting the showcase game for the MLB Breakthrough Series at noon tomorrow. 3-2 now, and we'll watch the runners with men on first and second and 1 out in a 1-1 game. 60 top high school players will take part in that Breakthrough Series. And MLB Network will air the game on Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time.
Your point about the runners is a good one right here, and the Astros are not doing anything with either shortstop or second baseman to try to keep that lead cut down at second. I think that would open up the opportunity a bit.
They're not going, and it's popped up. Jonathan Villar underneath, infield fly is called. 2 outs. Very big pitch for Bud Norris in a 1-1 game with 2 on, and slugging Cespedes the batter. Now it's going to be Moss coming up next. He's 0 for 2. The Greenville Astros now have an 11-game winning streak. That's a club record. They won 5 before last night. They're currently in first place in the Appalachian League's West Division. They are 21-10 with 11 straight wins.
That's hard to do at any level, but when you're talking about a bunch of kids just new to professional baseball, that's quite a feet.
Now, you were talking before the game about Toronto's long winning streak earlier this year. That was 11, right?
Yep.
But that's been about the only portion of the season that's been really anything more than subpar for that Toronto club.
Taking a dive since getting Jose Reyes back.
That's ball one. He's hitting well.
That pitching has just crumbled for the Blue Jays. Josh Johnson, big name coming from the Miami Marlins, and has had a miserable season to this point. A guy who, 4 or 5 years ago, would have been listed among the most talented pitchers in the National League.
Yes, sir. 1-1. Toronto is in the basement in the AL East, 45-54, with a 6-game losing streak right now.
Yeah, they're heading right back to the depths from whence they came back prior to that 11-game winning streak.
Moss fouls it. It's 1-2. Twins and Angels are just underway. No score out on the West Coast. Mike Pelfrey on the mound for the Twins. Indians got 3 in the top of the first at Seattle to lead the Mariners. And Scott Kazmir has been handed that lead. Swing and a miss and a strikeout for Norris. Well, after a walk and a hit batter, Bud Norris got tough. And he got Lowry, Cespedes, and Moss. Ties his season high with 7 strikeouts, 1-1.
bottom of the 6th inning. Astros Trivia is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. What team traded Jose Cruz to Houston, and who did they receive in return? Not enough. That's what I've got to say to begin with. No, in terms of where he came from, I believe I know.
Yeah.
Who they got for him? Do you have any clue?
At one point I did, but I'm not sure I do anymore.
What could he hit? Just a hitting machine. And he could get into modes where he'd say, tonight I'm going to hit it to right field. Tonight I'm going to hit it down the left field line. Just really special.
Now Jose Altuve takes strike one in a 1-1 game. He homered to tie it in the 4th inning on a 3-2 pitch after striking out in the 1st. Jose played alongside his brothers in the outfield with the Cardinals. And we were at Busch Stadium a couple of years ago. They have this photographic library, and they produced this photo of the 3 brothers in a picture. And then, of course, he joined the Astros after that. And the rest is history as he became one of the icons. He was the club leader in many big offensive departments for a long time, before guys like Biggio and Bagwell came along.
Yeah, I think of Jose Cruz often about many aspects of my years as a player here. But 1980 is probably the foremost case. We went out to L.A., 3 games to go in the season.
Crisp with the catch.
Astros had a 3-game lead and went out to L.A. and lost 3 straight and had to play a 163rd game. And you can see Jose Cruz in those great years with the Astros. Almost 2,000 hits. Almost driving in 1,000 runs. 2-time All-Star. Yeah, he was just really special. And special as a human being as well. But after losing the 3 straight in L.A., we had to play that 163rd game. And I wondered that morning going to the ballpark what it was going to be that would be said or done to help, aid the team to victory that day to get into the postseason.
Castro into right field, and it kicks back as he heads for second. Here's the throw from Reddick. Not in time. Another double for Castro, his 27th.
Well, the end of that story is, and Bill Verdon was the manager, and I think Bill sized it up perfectly. Jose Cruz got up on a table and started dancing for the team in the clubhouse, and everybody just started laughing. It was hilarious. It loosened the team up. We went out there and won, and went after the Phillies in the postseason as Jason Castro continues to hit doubles down the right field side. But yeah, it was Jose Cruz, and just to dance for the team, just saying, loosen up, guys, go swing the bats, have some fun, play the game the way it's meant to be played. Jason Castro is a doubles machine, isn't he?
Boy, 27 doubles for Jason. He was tied for 5th in the American League coming into this game. He's aboard for Chris Carter, who has struck out looking twice. In the air to the right fielder, Reddick. Castro tagging, heading for third. Here's the long throw, cut off by the shortstop. 2 outs. Carter almost got all of it. Now it'll be Carlos Corcoran batting next. Carlos struck out looking in the 2nd. He was hit by a pitch in the 4th.
Sometimes I think, Ronnie, that as fans we can all start to think something was really profoundly said in a clubhouse setting or wherever it may be for professional teams. And sometimes that may be the case, and other times it just comes down to getting loose and having fun together. And Jose Cruz was that guy that could make it happen.
Strike to Corcoran. Well, it's been written, and you might be able to verify this, that after the Dodgers swept that series to create the 1-game playoff, that you guys got on the bus and Joe Niekro said, "Don't worry, guys." High drive, deep right field. Carlos Corcoran has given the Astros a 3-1 lead with a long home run to right field, number 6. And the Astros scoring all three via the long ball today. Have the lead by 2 now. That's 15 runs batted in for Carlos Corcoran.
Well, that's nice to see. There's a guy that has filled that backup role perfectly for the Astros this year. Great job behind the plate, and from both sides of the plate, he swings the stick. Full-grown man hit that ball.
Yeah. That's a long drive. Now Brett Wallace looks at strike 1. Well, the Astros now have a total of 16 home runs from their 2 catchers combined. It's tied with Cleveland for second behind Toronto's 17 to lead the American League.
You mentioned it earlier in the game too. With the second home run, that's now 23 allowed by Griffin on the season. You'd like to allow 1 every 10 innings or less. That would be a nice year, but he is not going to find that figure.
Wallace shoots one through the left side into left field. On the 0-2 pitch, he just took it by the shortstop Lowry for hit number 3 of the inning. Well, the Astros are getting some good swings. Solid contact for Castro with a double, Corcoran with a 2-run homer, Wallace with a single in the inning. Griffin retired the first 8. He struck out 5 of them. Really locating very well. He's at 91 pitches for the day, trailing 3-1, facing Maxwell.
You made a comment about Joe Niekro.
He said, Craig Reynolds said he got on the bus. Moss over for the catch and said, "Don't worry, guys, I got this." And then he went out and pitched a complete game.
May well have been the case.
2-run scoring on 3 hits and a man left. Here's the big one. Carlos Corcoran snaps the 1-1 tie, sending a bomb into right field. 3-1 Astros.
Arkansas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico viewers, listen up. Comcast Sportsnet covers the entire 5-state region, and we want your story ideas. Email us your ideas at regionalroundup@comcastsportsnet.com. And speaking of regions, how about some kiddos from the 5th Ward being represented today? Nice to see them out in Houston at the game. Quite a few kids here enjoying the game, and they've been screaming and making some pretty good crowd noise as well. Bill and Allen, not badly done out of them. Nice to hear some good crowd noise and have some good energy.
Yeah, last night there was plenty of that as well with the big crowd last night. Now Bud Norris with a 3-1 lead faces Josh Reddick. And there's ball 1. Reddick has struck out and flied to center. This is very important, this inning for Bud Norris, for several reasons. He's thrown 105 pitches, His team just scored to give him the lead. If he can make this a shutdown inning, that means only 2 innings remaining for Oakland, trailing. And generally it would be the last inning for most pitchers if they were to go 7 with a 3-1 lead, we'll say, and throw 115, 120 pitches. So I don't know, Ash, how starting pitchers think. Do you think a guy in his situation would be telling himself, hey, I've got to go hard for 1 more inning here, and that's probably going to be it, so don't save anything?
Yeah, I think that's likely the case. How many answers I could have given to the way you posed that, how starting pitchers think.
Foul ball, and it's still 1-2. The attendance is 25,431.
I love the old-time mentality of a starting pitcher believing that what he was expected to do today was to finish this game. Of course,
right.
It's no longer that way, and so it doesn't diminish what pitchers now think. But boy, it was quite different when you go back a few decades.
In the air, whoa! Reddick just slammed the bat down. Jonathan Villar with a catch. He's pretty intense. 1 out.
He has been an erupting volcano at times here in the series.
He really has.
Done this a lot this year. Gotten his pitch and not been able to hammer it. Had so much success last year that I think that's where the tempest is coming from.
Lefty Travis Blackley's warming up for Houston. Seth Smith is 0 for 2. Ball 1 to Smith with Eric Sogard on deck. Norris has kept the Oakland A's at bay with 3 hits. They scored on a 1-out first inning homer by John Jaso. They have an infield hit by Cespedes in the second, a double by Jaso in the third. Norris has walked 2. He's hit a batter. One ball, 1 strike. Very much back on track after 2 subpar starts. Losing at St. Louis, losing here against Seattle, and giving up 13 earned runs in 10 2/3 innings in those 2 games. Two balls and a strike. Norris came into this affair with an 0-2 career record against Oakland. His ERA was 11.37. Good breaking ball, makes it 2-2. It's going to be a while before Astros fans get to come out for another game at Minute Maid Park with this 10-game road trip starting tomorrow night. It'll be Eric Bedard and Mark Burley in Toronto tomorrow night. Airtime 5:30 for Astros pregame live. 3-2. Friday night, Jordan Lyles squares off against R.A. Dickey. Saturday, it's a day game with Dallas Keuchel and Josh Johnson doing the work. Sunday in the finale, Jared Cozart opposes Todd Redmond. So it's Lyles on Friday night against Dickey, the knuckleballer. That's ball 4. Third walk for Norris.
Astros Trivia is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. St. Louis Cardinals, we mentioned it earlier, traded Jose Cruz to Houston for cash. It was actually, the way I see it, the Astros purchased him.
Yeah.
So I guess you would technically call it a trade, but so the Cards got nothing but a few measly bucks in that deal, huh? That's not enough.
Well, was it Dave Cash or Norm Cash?
Not one of those cash boys. Don Money.
Don Money.
Yeah. Slash and hack and Jose Cruz. Now, whatever the Cardinals would have gotten wouldn't have been enough in my mind.
Visit to the mound. There's bullpen action going. Right-hander Hector Ambrose now has joined lefty Travis Blackley after Doug Brocail went out. 117 pitches for Norris. And Bo Porter said the other day, I've told all my starting pitchers, you better plan on getting your work done in 120 pitches. Bud did throw 122. And that's his season high. That was his second start of the year. That was here against Oakland April 6th. That was in 5 2/3 innings. Sogard the batter. At strike one. He is struck out and lined to left. Left field near the line, slicing away from Chris Carter. That's a fair ball into the corner. And now coming hard around third, here's Smith. And the looping throw will not be made to the plate. It's a 3-2 game on an opposite field double by Sogard. That's his 17th two-base hit of the year, RBI number 16, to make it a one-run Houston lead.
Well, it's that walk that sets things up. And a second straight inning where there have been freebies now for these A's. Pretty hitting by Sogard. You called him Harry Potter, but apparently Harry Potter can hit a bit.
And Smith came home to make it 3-2. With that, the pitching change will follow. 119 pitches for Bud Norris. That's it for Bud. Switch hitting Coco Crisp is waiting to see whether he'll be facing lefty Travis Blackley, which will be the case. So we need to wonder no further on that. Norris threw 18 of 27 first pitch strikes. He leaves with a 3-2 lead.
Warms it up. Bud Norris was strong here this afternoon and leaves with 7 strikeouts on his game. That's slider effective. He used everything he had and did his very best to try to find corners here this afternoon. In the 6th inning, he walked the leadoff man, hit Josh Donaldson to follow, but then got a fly out, a pop out, and a strikeout of Brandon Moss and got out of that frame. And that gave the Astros a chance in the bottom of the frame to pick up the 2-run home run from Carlos Corporan. And as it stands for the moment, Bud still has a chance to pick up the win.
Travis Blackley will have a lot to say about that. He'll come in with a runner at second, Sogard, and 1 out, facing Coco Crisp. He's 1-0 with a 4.99 ERA, a former Oakland A. Blackley worked in the opener of this series Monday night.
It's been great against left-hand hitters this year. But, of course, Coco Crisp can turn it right around.
Crisp is weaker from this right side of the plate, 214 compared to 291 left. Blackley gave up a home run, and he turns back to second, and came in with a 3-1 lead in the 7th inning Monday night, but allowed the home run to Chris Young. So he picked up his 13th hold of the year because he did maintain the lead in that situation.
Getting word that Carlos Corporon's last 4 home runs now have either helped the Astros tie a ball game late or take the lead.
That's big.
So he's been really valuable with the bat.
Chris looks at strike one.
Blackley gets a break on that call.
Well, he retired Crisp in the game Monday night. Struck him out right before the home run by Chris Young. He's inherited 30 runners. That's tops in the American League. Only 5 have scored. That's tops on the club. Sorry about that. Deep drive to left field, and that's headed for the seats, and that is a Coco Crisp go-ahead 2-run homer. 4-3 Oakland as the late inning home runs continue to be a theme. On Monday night, Young hit one in the 7th inning. Reddick a 2-run shot in the 8th as Oakland won at 4-3. Last night, Moss gave them a lead with a 2-run homer in the 8th, 4-2, and now Bud Norris cannot be the winning pitcher.
A lot spoken in that glance from Bud Norris there. He will have nothing to do with today's outcome. And you go out there and you pitch your tail off and you leave with a man or whatever on base as a starting pitcher, and it just crumbles. It's so hard to take.
Home run number 10 for Coco Crisp. He's hit 4 against the Astros. Now Jaso with strike one. Crisp has driven in 10 against the Astros this season with his 4 home runs. And he's hit right around 400 against Houston pitching. Curveball is good for a strike. 0-2 to Jaso. The Astros relievers now have surrendered 61 home runs this season. Jaso's down on strikes. That's out number 2. And the line on Bud Norris will be 6 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs allowed, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a no decision today.
The Astros bullpen as a group started play today with a 5.04 collective ERA, and that's dead last in the American League. It's just been a tough go a lot of the time.
Cole Porter wants a right-hander. He's had Hector Ambrose warming up in the bullpen. Josh Donaldson's waiting to hit. That's it for Blackley, who goes 1/3 of an inning, allowing 1 hit, 1 run. It's 4-3 Oakland. Back in a moment.
unique space to hold your next event? With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games as well as batting practice. We can all use a little batting practice.
Hector Ambrose comes in. Travis Blackley giving up the go-ahead homer to Coco Crisp. Now it's 4-3 Oakland. 3 runs having scored for the A's here in the 7th inning. Ambrose is 2-4. His ERA is 5.66. We're facing Josh Donaldson, who struck out, walked, and was hit by a pitch.
7 home runs allowed on the season by Hector.
Ball 1 to Donaldson. The home run allowed by Blackley was the 9th he has allowed in 31 innings.
Some unique mannerisms there by Josh Donaldson. I guess if it works, you keep doing it.
2-0. Jerry Blevins is warming up for Oakland, a left-hander. In for a strike, make it 2-1 for Hector Ambrose. It's been back and forth in this series. This is the deciding game. We've had a pair of 1-run decisions so far going each way. Oakland is 20-12 in 1-run games. Three balls and a strike. Houston is 14-16 in games decided by a single run. The A's now have hit, see, 2 home runs today, 18 against Houston pitching in 12 games this year. Donaldson swings at it, and it's 3-2. Ambrose came in Monday night in the Oakland 4-3 win. He had a 3-2 lead in the 8th inning and gave up 1 run. Donaldson looks at it. It's ball 4. He's on for the 3rd straight time. Jed Lowry bats. He's 0 for 3.
They make these pitching changes to take advantage of lefty versus lefty or righty versus righty, and then you walk the first man you face and you wind up facing the guy that hits on the other side anyway.
Maxwell catches the fly ball hit by Lowry, and Oakland comes up with 3 in the 7th inning on 2 hits to lead it 4-3.
score 4-3, and we want you to know that you should treat your employees, host clients, or bring out your church or use sports team. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today. And there was quite a group on hand to watch Matt Dominguez hit a game-time home run in the 9th inning to help the Astros beat the A's last night. It was Dominguez's first home run in 18 games. He said after the game he wasn't trying to hit one, he was just going to try to hit a line drive somewhere. It's always a great approach to have, and it certainly proved to be an approach that definitely worked. He hit that line drive out of the park and into right field.
And now he takes ball one as he bats, trailing by 1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. He singled to left center in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2. A.J. Griffin is wide of the plate with that one. It's 2-0. Now he's been granted a reprieve after giving up the go-ahead home run to Carlos Corcoran in the 6th inning to trail 3-1. He takes the mound with a lead 4-3. Line shot left field. Caught in left by Cespedes. Well hit ball by Dominguez. 1 out.
That ball was centered up as well as you can do it. Some encouraging at bats here in the last couple of games now for Matt Dominguez. Takes one above the knees and just drills it, but the guy's been playing there for a few years.
Now A.J. Griffin's coming out of this game. Bob Melvin, after his starter went 95 pitches, will make a move after 6 1/3 innings for Griffin. He's had the lefty Jerry Blevins warming up. He'll go to Blevins against lefty hitting Mark Krause right after this. Ball. Let's go back to Monday night when Oakland won it 4-3 and got the big 2-run homer from Josh Reddick in the 8th inning. And then last night the Astros come back on the Matt Dominguez 2-run shot, but earlier a 2-run homer by Moss in the 8th inning, and that made it 4-2.
Matt Dominguez took over at that point, tied the ball game with that 2-run home run, and then this play, the walk-off error. Jose Altuve made a huge mistake, but it turned out to be the best thing that could happen to the Astros as Jonathan VR comes in to score that winning run. Coco Crisp here in this 7th inning gets turned around to the right side of the plate, slams a home run to left field, 2-run shot, and with that the Oakland A's back on top.
Well, now the wheels are spinning as lefty Jerry Blevins comes in, and there's been a counter move by Bo Porter. Blevins in 42 games, 5-0 with a 3.44 ERA. Pinch hitter for Mark Krause is right-handed hitting Jake Elmore. Elmore looks at ball 1 from Blevins. Griffin going 6 1/3, allowing 6 hits, 3 runs. With no walks, he hit a batter and struck out 8. 277 for Elmore, 1 homer, he's driven in 5. Elmore takes it for a strike. Krause was 1 for 2. Elmore has a 4-game hitting streak. He's gone 6 for 14. He does not have a pinch hit at bat so far for the Astros this year. Strike there to Elmore, makes it 1-2. Jake has been playing quite a bit. He's played shortstop, the outfield. Bull Porter was talking about him before the game, the fact that he has confidence in using Jake at a variety of positions, and now has found out that he can be an emergency catcher as well. Fouled off the mask of J-So. Still 1-2. Jesse Chavez warming up for Oakland. Might be a very good role for Jake Elmore to just be spotted as needed at various positions.
Talked earlier in the game about Elmore being found out that he can do a little catching, so he becomes valuable in that regard.
Lowry takes care of out number 2.
Of course, the problem is if you use Elmore as a pinch hitter, say 7th inning like this, and then you wind up somehow getting in that catcher dilemma, he's no longer of value. So that could actually serve to leave Jake playing less and less if that catching need as a third guy comes about.
2 outs now as Blevins retires the pinch hitter Elmore, and Jonathan Villar is the batter. He's 0 for 3. Villar has 1 hit in 3 at bats as a right-handed batter. That was a bunt hit. Donaldson creeps in. There's strike 1. Adam Everett has been here this homestand, and he's on his way home for a few days now before his next assignment, headed for Lancaster in the California League. Adam has been among those who has worked with Jonathan Villar at AAA Oklahoma City and in spring training. And Tommy Lawless also has been doing some fine work with Villar at shortstop at Oklahoma City.
Jonathan Villar is one of those guys blessed with great skills at shortstop. But you'll see those guys sometimes be really flashy but not consistent on routine plays. And I think the work that they do with Villar probably centers around that latter point, getting that routine play and making the out time and time again.
There's a strikeout, and Blevins gets outs number 2 and 3 here in the 7th inning to maintain Oakland's lead 4-3 through 7. To play right field after pinch hitting for Mark Krause. The Astros have two banged-up outfielders in Brandon Barnes and J.D. Martinez. They should be ready to go tomorrow night in Toronto, but they both left with injuries during last night's game. Hector Ambrose came in and walked Donaldson and got Lowry on a fly ball. And now he begins the 8th inning with Cespedes, Moss, and Reddick due to bat.
You know, Bo Porter may be dealing with exactly what we were talking about with Elmore. You keep him in the ball game, and then you can still use that extra man from the bench with a catcher, for example, pinch running.
That's true. Cespedes singled his first time up. Strike one. 4-5-0 for Oakland. 3-6-0 for Houston. Oakland has stranded 6. Houston has left 4. The Astros will have Altuve, Castro, and Carter due up in the bottom of the 8th. Cespedes started to move the bat. Yeah, that's a strike. 0-2. Both starters went 6 1/3 innings and allowed 3 runs. Griffin for Oakland and Norris for Houston. Up and in for a ball. It's 1-2 on Cespedes.
Just a fastball that gets away. The Astros were trying to come up with that fastball up the ladder and try to get the swing and a miss.
Shortstop VR comes in. 1 out. He has a very strong arm.
Almost came up with a terrific play earlier in the ball game, but just nice and easy right there, and he'll cut it loose well. With those great wheels stealing all the bags that he's been able to do. It translates on the defensive side as well. So he looks like he's got all the tools to play this position very well for a long time to come.
Brandon Moss is 0 for 3. Carlos Corcoran walking out to talk it over with Hector Ambrose. Pirates will be in Washington tonight. And they'll have Liriano, a 9-game winner, going against Strasburg. Steven Strasburg is 5-7 with a 2.97 ERA. And Mark Melancon now becomes the closer for Pittsburgh until they can figure out the injury status of Jason Grilli. The Angels lead the Twins 1-0. They're in the top of the 4th inning. Weaver's on the mound for the Angels. Now Bo Porter comes out. That's going to be it for Hector Ambrose. He goes 2/3 of an inning, and he leaves with the score: Oakland 4, Houston 3. Back in a moment. The border tomorrow night for a clash with the Toronto Blue Jays. Astros pregame live kicks things off at 5:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And we'll look at tomorrow's pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. A little tardy, but still accurate. Eric Bedard will go for the Astros. 3-7 on the year, 4.41 the ERA, opposed by left-hander veteran Mark Burley for the Blue Jays. Just in his first year there, 5-7, struggling with a 4.83 earning.
You were ready to go when the car horn sounded.
It actually woke me up. Brought me around.
Lefty on lefty, Wesley Wright 0-4 with a 4.21 ERA. A shot on the ground. Wallace will toss to the pitcher covering. A one pitch out, number 2 on Moss.
Brandon Moss did not get fooled there.
No, he laced it.
This is Wesley Wright's big job, like other left-handers in bullpens. Get those left-handed bats, and that's a key out to get.
Josh Reddick is 0 for 3. Reddick connected for the big eventual game-winning 8th inning home run off Wesley Wright Monday night, and Oakland's 4-3 come from behind win. In tied for ball 1. Indians lead at Seattle. It's 4-1 Cleveland. They're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Scott Kazmir of Houston has 3 no-hit innings under his belt. He's given up an unearned run. His mound opponent Joe Saunders not faring nearly as well. High chop goes foul. It's 1-2. Jesse Chavez is heating up for Oakland. Braves and Mets play tonight in New York. Tim Hudson 7-7 against Jeremy Hefner. He's 4-7. That's a fair ball inside the third base line. It kicks out. The shortstop should go out on that ball, but Jonathan Villar hasn't played enough games here. And now he's starting to get the hang of things. That's a 2-out double by Reddick. That's his 13th double.
So 2 left-handed batters come to the plate. One stings it right at Wallace, and then this one hits sharply over the bag at third. Yeah, that's a lesson to be learned very quickly here in this ballpark, and there are others around the major leagues where the shortstop needs to know his positioning there.
Hit number 6 for Oakland, and now it's Seth Smith. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And Corcoran will go out. Smith trying to pull out of a long slump, 0 for 22.
Seems to continually be some sort of a surprise, a miscommunication when there's a man on second base.
Padres are at Milwaukee tonight. It'll be O'Sullivan versus Loesch. Kyle Loesch 6-7. In tight for a ball. Phillies are at St. Louis later on tonight. John Lennon and Jake Westbrook will do the starting there. Cubs will send Jeff Samardzija to the mound against Arizona's Ian Kennedy. Kennedy's 3-7 with a 5.29 ERA. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Dodgers have Ricky Nolasco set to go in Toronto against Esmil Rogers. Well, you guys might be able to catch part of that game, Ash, when you get in.
I'll run over and bring my video cam, make sure I send it back to you.
3-0. Julia's back. Julia Morales will be making the trip.
She's been making nothing but trips.
Yeah. Steve Sparks is going to bring her a gift on this trip. She doesn't know it yet, I don't think.
She may now.
Yeah, she may be finding out. But it might be a big secret. She was sumo wrestling.
If you're going to do the sumo wrestling thing, you've got to have a front row seat, don't you?
That is from a Japanese website, which has caught Julia Morales on camera in Japan watching sumo wrestling.
It's like, where in the world is Waldo?
Steve Sparks is bringing his knuckleball catcher's mitt on the trip.
See, that's the thing. Knuckleball pitchers have their own catcher's mitts to hand out to whoever attempts to catch him.
Well, he's going to let Julia use it if she wants to on the pregame show before the R.A. Dickey start.
Use it in what sense? How serious is Julia going to get here?
I'm not sure. Whether she wants to try to catch a knuckleball. Smith takes a walk. Now here's a guy who's 0 for 22 and he's walked the last 2 times up. And now first and second, 2 outs, and it's Sogard coming up.
String of left-hand hitters, but it's not making a whole lot of difference.
Sogard had the RBI double in the 7th inning. That pulled the A's to within a run at 3-2, and then they took the lead when Crisp followed with a 2-run homer to the Landry's Crawford boxes. In the dirt, ball 1.
So let's talk about this difficulty that's going on.
Left-handed hitters are hitting .290 against Wesley Wright coming into this game today with 20 hits and 69 at bats. Ground ball foul. It's 1-1. So his mission here, get out number 3, down by a run. Give Altuve, Castro, and Carter a chance to work something offensively in the bottom of the 8th inning. This Oakland bullpen is a good one. And we're not sure about the availability of closer Grant Balfour today. Sogard tried to check, and he did. It went down to Marvin Hudson. It's 2 balls and a strike. Balfour threw 29 pitches last night. He had pitched the night before. Strike call. 2-2 to Sogard now. Reds are at San Francisco tonight. Mike Leake shooting for his 10th win against Chad Gaudin. Yankees play the Texas Rangers in Texas. Pettit versus Garza. Reds and Giants played a doubleheader yesterday. And they switched uniforms. The Reds were actually the home team for one of those games in San Francisco to make up an earlier rainout in Cincinnati, since they are not scheduled to go back there this year. 3-2 now. With 2 outs, the runners go. Swing and a miss. Sogard strikes out. It's no runs, a hit, 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, 4-3 Oakland.
Houston by a score of 4-3. And August 9th through the 12th, the Astros take on the Texas Rangers for the final time at Minute Maid Park this season. The series features a big and bright Friday night on the 9th and a Texas Country Street Fest before the game on the 10th. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com for tickets. I cannot believe, Bill Brown and Alan Ashby, that we are already talking about division rivals making their final trips to the park already. But believe it, it's about that time of year.
It's here, and this is the final game for Oakland here in Houston today. Jesse Chavez comes in. He has a battery mate who has changed as well. Derek Norris in the game to do the catching. Chavez is 1-2, a 2.97 ERA for Jesse. He's allowed 2 homers in 33 1/3 innings. He might be asked to close this game. That's what happened earlier this season here in Houston. He went 2 innings of shutout ball and closed out an 11-5 win. Now 1-run lead as Derek Norris is the catcher. Jose Altuve the batter. Altuve is 1 for 3, a homer. And there's strike one.
Jesse Chavez has had a lengthy career and he's bounced around from place to place, and it has been a struggle, but he puts on an Oakland A's uniform and, like so many other pitchers, just suddenly starts to pitch much better, allowing less hits than innings pitched and striking out a bunch.
29 years old, Jesse Chavez. Bounced around. He has a career ERA against the Astros of 1.17 in 13 games. He pitched for Toronto and Oakland last year. He's from Victorville, California. Throws a strike.
Good arm, 95 on that heater.
He spent a couple of years with Pittsburgh, then Atlanta and Kansas City. Poked on a line into right field over Sogard, and Altuve gets it started here in the bottom of the 8th with a single. He's 2 for 4.
You used to think Rod Carew, good ways back, could swing the magic wand with the best of them and just flip balls all over. But take a look at that swing, and that is magic wand to the nth degree. Not many guys can do that. Just somehow get some portion of the barrel on the baseball, and it'll find holes.
Hit number 7 for the Astros. Jason Castro has one of those, a double. Strike one. Castro twice has grounded out to first. He doubled to right. So pulling the ball today, and now facing Chavez for the first time. Carter's on deck. This Oakland bullpen has 16 wins, 11 losses, a 3.09 ERA. Ryan Cook's warming up. It's 1-1. Grant Balfour had 44 consecutive saves until last night. Throw goes over on Altuve. Altuve has 23 stolen bases in 30 tries. The Astros have been running successfully in this series. Jose has a steal in each of the first 2 games of this 3-game set. The Astros had 3 steals Monday night and 1 more last night. And Balfour not budging from that bench in the bullpen. 2 balls, 1 strike. Sean Doolittle is the guy to our left of Balfour. He's usually the 8th inning setup man, so it would appear both are getting the day off. Strike to Castro. It's 2-2.
Sometimes tough being a catcher. Obviously, you get the chance to swing the bat. When you're hitting, you don't want those close ones called strikes. But when you're catching and trying to do that job, most important for your pitcher, you need them called strikes. So when you complain as a hitter, it can kind of serve to go the wrong direction for you when you lace them up and get behind the plate. Pretty good backdoor curveball.
A big 3-2 pitch coming, and we'll see what Altuve might be doing at first. He's going. Strikeout. Here's Norris with a one-hop throw, and the tag safe. Altuve got in underneath the tag, and here comes Bob Melvin as Lowry looked disappointed at the safe call by Mark Wegner.
Yeah, Lowry's not buying into the call. Glove came up as the throw bounced into the bag. That a lot of times will leave umpires calling the runner safe. Watch what happens to an infielder with that bounce throw. Now, it's not always, but see how the glove comes up in gloving it? If you can find a way to make that glove stay down while gloving it, you've got a much better chance. But it would appear Lowry is much more right in his assessment of the play than is second base umpire Mark Wegner.
Bob Melvin spoke his piece. Lowry looked really unhappy, and Altuve wound up with his 24th steal. Now 1 out, runner at second base for Chris Carter. Carter's 0 for 3. Carlos Corcoran on deck.
If you're not convinced he's out, take that look, and yeah, Altuve happy about the call, obviously, because he got one that might have stolen there.
Off the plate for a ball. That makes it 2-0 to Carter. Make it 1-1. It's in for a strike. 1-2.
Carter's been caught looking a couple of times on the afternoon, just having a hard time pulling the trigger.
When the A's have the lead after 7 innings, their record this year is 44-2.
Yeah, that's an effective bullpen.
Ball keeps the count at 1-2 for Chris Carter. Ball to even the count at 2-2 now.
The Oakland A's bullpen is third best in ERA in the league. The teams on top of them, Texas Rangers and Kansas City Royals. Texas Rangers have found ways to pitch so much better in their ballpark than people thought they were capable of.
Sure have. 3-2.
You have a tendency of looking at the Detroit Tigers in that great lineup and wonder why they don't win at a higher clip. Probably a good thing to look at is the bullpen. They have struggled there near the bottom.
Carter walks. Carlos Corcoran comes up. First walk of the day by the Oakland pitching staff. Corcoran was hit by a pitch in the 4th by A.J. Griffin. Then he ripped a 2-run homer off Griffin in the 6th inning.
Well, a golden opportunity is being presented to Houston.
Walks have been few for the Oakland pitching staff, the fewest in the American League. Red Wallace is on deck. To center field. Crisp. Altuve tagging. Crisp with the catch will throw into second base. Altuve going to third. 2 outs. Red Wallace will get a shot.
Intelligent play by Oakland there, and well executed with the infielders lining up for second base. You got no shot of getting Altuve at third. Don't allow that go-ahead run to move into second base. He simply did the right thing. Carlos Corporon, I think in that at bat just figured, if I get a good pitch, I'm going to take my good swing.
Chavez is headed for the showers. 2 outs here and 2 men on in the 8th inning. Ryan Cook has been warming up. Melvin will be making another move and will return in just a moment. Comes out of the bullpen for Bob Melvin. Ryan Cook. And Cook has been very effective against the Astros this year. Not allowed an earned run as well in his last 9 games, covering 9 1/3 innings. 1 for 4 in saves, but primarily a setup man. He's 3-2 with a 2.32 ERA, walking just 13 in 42 2/3 innings.
You talk about the 42 and 2/3 innings. Not a home run allowed in that span. And the overall opposition batting average against it, 214. Kicking right-hand hitters all around.
That's something. That homerless streak goes back 66 games and 68 2/3 innings since August 4th of last year against Toronto. Red Wallace hit a sharp single to left field in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. That's ball 1. Justin Maxwell's on deck.
It is big swing opportunity time.
Altuve at third base. Carter at first. A flare near the left field line. 3 players giving chase, and Cespedes gets there to end the 8th inning with no runs a hit and 2 men stranded. We move to the 9th. It's 4-3 Oakland. airfares online only at southwest.com. And by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. 4-3 game. And some folks are making their way home early. 4:11 Central Time. This game just 3 hours old right now. As the ninth inning rolls around, it's pitcher number 5 for Houston, Jose Veras, the closer, coming in. And Veras in 40 games is 0-4 with a 3.12 ERA, 18 for 21 in saves.
And that opposition batting average against would indicate that Jose's been quite effective. Right-hand hitters, just 157 overall, 197. Those are good numbers. Even the 4 home runs allowed, not bad.
Wesley Wright in 2/3 of an inning allowed 1 hit, no runs. He had 1 walk and struck out 1. Hector Ambrose had 2/3 of an inning, giving up no hits, no runs with a walk and no strikeouts. Now Veras versus Coco Crisp.
Wonder how many teams are inquiring about Jose Veras.
Haven't really heard exactly, but we've seen his name out there. Crisp with the 2-run homer in the 7th. That's changed the complexion of this game. Takes a strike. In fact, speaking of 2-run homers, let's check and see. I believe there was a note that all of his homers had been solo this year. Not that it's that big a deal. He is a leadoff man. He's hit 3 home runs leading off games. He checked his swing, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Coco Crisp. A little roller goes out toward the mound. Veras barehanding, throwing him out. Yeah, all of his homers were solo until today. Layla?
I had an interesting chat with Jose Veras yesterday, one of the happy leaders in the clubhouse, and he talked to me about not only the opportunity to save for Jared Kozar, which he did in Tampa, said it was amazing, but he and I also started talking about the differences between pitching in the 8th and the 9th inning. And Veras said that he actually thinks it's harder to pitch in the 8th than the 9th. His reasoning is math. Number one, he says, listen, when you're in the 9th, you only have 3 outs to worry about. But he is a man familiar with that 8th inning appearance. We know he's one of the league leaders in appearances, and says for him, it was an adjustment to move to the closer's role. But at the same time, he thought the 8th was tougher, just given the opportunities that you have to mess up. He's really enjoyed the saving role, though, here and having 18 saves in the season, and says that the thing he likes the most about closing is you know your team is going to do well. You have positive energy that you're working with, and he's used it to his advantage.
Thanks, Layla. 0-1 the count on Josh Donaldson. Or on Derek Norris, rather. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I was under the impression that the 8th inning also had only 3 outs to get, so I'm a little confused.
205 for Norris, 5 homers. He's driven in 20. Well, we try to keep everybody confused most of the time. Ground ball to shortstop, VR. 2 outs for Veras.
You know what? He's pretty out there. He's got the looks of a guy that, you know, you hope in 10 years, 15 years that you're talking about one of the outstanding shortstops in his era. He's got it all put together. This looks like a guy that can play it.
Lively body. Bounces around very effectively. Now Josh Donaldson. He's walked twice and he's been hit by a pitch. Carlos Coburn didn't quite locate that one, but well out of play. That's strike 1. Had a big comeback. Oklahoma City exploding today, getting 9 runs on 10 hits over the final 2 innings. And the Red Hawks turned a 2-run deficit in the 8th into an 11-4 win over the Omaha Storm Chasers. George Springer tied the game with an RBI single, and Jimmy Paredes provided the go-ahead hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. You ever chase storms, Ash?
Not the kind you're talking about.
Okay. Brad Peacock was the starting pitcher in that game, and he gave up 4 earned runs in 6 innings. He has a 2.88 ERA. 1-2. Philip Umber got the win in relief with 3 hitless innings. The storms of life might be chasing some of us around from time to time, Ash.
I have gotten locked in on some of those.
Strike 3. Donaldson caught looking to end a 1-2-3 9th inning, and he looks back at Jordan Baker. And now we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Maxwell and Dominguez, and then Elmore due up. Those 3, bottom of the 9th is next, and it's Ryan Cook who got the final out in the 8th inning. Pitcher number 4 trying to close it out. A.J. Griffin, the starter, took Oakland through 6 1/3 innings. He gave up 3 runs. The Astros, with a 2-run homer by Carlos Corcoran in the 6th inning, took the lead 3-1. Then Oakland got it right back with 3 in the 7th. It stayed that way ever since, and now Ryan Cook tries to get through the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Maxwell, Domingo, and Elmore due up. Maxwell's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a foul pop. That's strike 1. Last night, Oakland lost a game when leading after 8 innings for the first time since August 4th, 2012 against Toronto. Could it happen 2 days in a row? Strike to Maxwell.
Certainly would make for a fun trip this evening.
And a strikeout for Cook. 1 out.
That's pretty tough stuff. You can get a glimpse at the reasons why Cook has been so effective, and especially against right-hand hitters.
That's 11 strikeouts for Oakland. Stay tuned for Post-Game Live presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history. Matt Dominguez, who is 1 for 3, singled in the 5th inning. He had another good swing in the 7th inning, lining out to left. Jake Elmore's on deck. And foul ball, strike 1. Jesse Chavez in 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs. He had a walk and a strikeout. Griffin's 9th win of the season on the line for Oakland. Foul by Dominguez, and it's 0-2. Enriquez has quite an impressive list of victims for some of his home runs. Aroldis Chapman, of course, last night. Grant Balfour, Yu Darvish, Johnny Cueto. There's a shot on one hop. Sogard on to first. 2 down. And Jake Elmore will try to keep the Astros alive here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Elmore pinch hit for Mark Krause in the 7th inning and grounded to shortstop. Six hits for Oakland, 7 for Houston. No errors in the game. Ball 1. Oakland is 7-1 here at Minute Maid Park this year. Final meeting of the season between the two here, with 2 series to go in Oakland yet. In tight, that makes it 2-0. Upstairs, ball 3 to Elmore. Now 3-1.
Yeah, this is get aboard time and let the magic man at the top, Jonathan VR, get a big swing.
High chop to third. Donaldson takes his time. And Oakland wins 2 of 3 in this 3-game series. The Athletics go to 59-42. They are 11-1 against Houston. And they wind up the season 8-1 in this ballpark. Final score, Oakland 4, Houston 3.